most of the customers, especially small companies, they lack the knowledge. Most of the time, they don't even know what they want. They pay some designer and they say, I need something, bring ideas. If there are people willing to be slaves for the same amount of money you charge, the one who is hiring you will get slaves instead of you. I love to learn new things. I love it. You give me a good challenge, and for me it's like, man, that's so good.
A gente está aqui hoje para conversar com o Oliver, certo? A gente vai falar um pouco sobre empreendedorismo, sobre os desafios dessa vida. Sorry, I'm speaking Portuguese.
Yeah, but I mean, are we going to speak in Portuguese? No. It's not so good. I mean, I have been there a few times.
You speak Portuguese, right?
A little bit. Um pouco.
For how long have you been in Brazil?
I spent there like a year in São Paulo, Campinas. Eu fui a Unicamp.
Yeah, true.
But then, I mean, I don't remember anything.
How long ago was it?
That was 2014, so 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Already.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I might have been there at that time. Yeah.
Maybe we crossed paths at the Bandejão.
Bandejão. Good.
Maybe.
Yeah. I haven't eaten there too much, but I used to love Bandejão from USP, from my university. I used to eat there like every day.
Okay.
Cool. So, kind of the idea here is that I'm looking for, what I say is that I'm looking for a treasure, which is, I believe there is a new way of, people to collaborating with each other and to find that treasure, to get to that kind of new way of collaborating. I'm like interviewing people and trying to understand different lenses and different angles on that challenge. And so my starting point for you is kind of what do you see as like professional challenges when like collaborating with other people? Are you working by yourself? Are you working with other people? How do you see that?
Okay, right now in my particular case, it's just myself. So and my project doesn't require anyone else. So I don't have that particular need. But if I had, I guess, first thing would be what kind of help I need. If I'm looking for a partnership or if I'm looking for someone to work on my behalf, if I need to hire someone,
So interesting. So for your project right now, you don't consider that like you need other people. So
if it scales, I will totally need. But now in this moment in time, no, I don't.
And I think that with AI, we're going to a phase in which we can do more by ourselves.
Sure. Yeah.
I was just doing like an exercise of brainstorming a business idea and kind of reaching out to people. And you can do a lot like with ChatGPT and other like generative AI tools. So I think that's kind of one starting point. And the question on that is, do I need to partner with someone right now? Do I need to hire someone right now, or can I do it by myself, right?
Yeah, I feel like, there is a toll you have to pay once you start. First of all, regarding the new tools we have now, I agree that if you are curious and you have your way of learning new skills, I think it's easier to do, to accomplish anything just by yourself. So now the key point is like whenever you want to start a partnership with someone, there are pros and cons, like always. And you get diluted. If you start at all, you have a company, you have 100. If I start on my own, just by myself, it's 100 for me. If we are two, then it's 50-50.
equity
talking
distribution.
talking about equity, first of all, you have to distribute that among the people who is part of the project. And also you create some kind of dependencies, no? Which is good and bad at the same time.
And also like dependencies, like complexities, right?
Yeah, complexities, because there are more like friction points. Also you get a lot, there are a lot of synergies if you find the right person. That's why people partner. But you have to be careful when you make those choices, like choosing the people you want to work with, especially when you start.
I see. And so I would say like the mindset is we should have like the least amount of people in the project, because that decreases the complexity of the operations and things like that. And so the question then becomes, how complex does the project needs to be, right?
Yeah, I think there's a limit, no? Like I have seen like some kind of new trend among some companies that it's like they don't want to grow bigger than they should, because basically once you do that, first of all you have an issue from the point of view of the like logistical point of view, like what you say, like how you deal with all those people. Like, I think it's one of the issues of starting a company is that there is a moment in which you start defining policies and you have to trust your policies because you don't have control over each individual working for you. And the other one is I don't know what I was going to say.
I was listening to a book earlier today, which is called Thick Face, Black Heart. It's an Asian author, very interesting book, very, very deep. And one of the things that they were talking about was that challenge of losing control as you kind of grow, as your project grows, as you professionally, as you grow, you kind of lose control, and that's something that is a trade-off. So growing is not 100% just positive things, and so that's kind of one trade-off. Like the more project complexity grow and the more people that you have involved, kind of the more you lose control.
And the second thing I was going to say, now it came to my mind, is that, you lose control, like, on the operations, and the second one is, again, what I said before, is regarding equity. If you want to grow, usually you need resources, and if you don't have the money to afford those resources, you need investors. And once you grow that way, you also lose power on the policies you want to impose in your own company. So at the end, you lose all the control. So you have to grow, but you have to keep in mind that it's not at all costs. As I said.
And like equity distribution is also a challenge, right? How have you partnered?
No, I haven't, but I have read about it. Like, I'm not talking from experience.
But it's an interesting question, because even people who haven't gone through that can be a challenge, in a sense that they know that they would need to kind of split equity, and not having a clear vision on how to do that can also prevent someone from partnering with others.
Yeah, I guess, I haven't done it myself, but I have seen there are some mathematical models to distribute equity as long as you grow. I think it's hard.
I've used a similar model to Slice and Pie. I don't know if you've heard of that. But it's basically like a mathematical model that distributes equity depending on the contribution of each individual. So kind of, and I think it's a good model for giving kind of a peace of mind that people need to work, because otherwise you would be like working with someone, but in the back of your mind there's always that thought of, how many, how what's the percentage of the
So
results?
you talk about like transparency, like you think it's good in the sense that people know what's their stake, or
That's one thing, and there's one benefit of, okay, I know what we're dealing with in terms of percentage. I know the framework. I might not know exactly what's my percentage on that if it works, because I don't know how much of the results or the effort I'm gonna put compared to anyone else. But I know that there is a framework and that it will be kind of fair in the sense that there's like this structure that we're gonna use. So this is one benefit, and the other benefit is what I've been through in the past is that sometimes we kind of, okay, let's do a partnership and it's 50-50, or it's 60-40, or it's 30-70. Independently of the number, when you go into a business with kind of that framework, that in mind, anything that it's like shooting a dart in the dark, because you don't know how much effort everyone's gonna put in, and you already have a fixed amount. You could do like there are like different things, but in the end, let's say vesting. Have you heard of vesting?
I think so, yeah.
Vesting is like, okay, you can have like 20% of the company considering you achieve this kind of results. This is better than you have 20%.
Sometimes, okay.
But still, it's limited to 20% depending on a very specific outcome. So if the company changes, the structure changes, the strategy changes, all that is not taken into account usually on that framework of vesting. If you have like a slicing pie, for example, you have a different kind of structure for calculating dynamically equity, and that can kind of help with that. But still, I feel that like there's a challenge before that, which is, do I need to partner or not?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Do you need it? As I said, it depends on your stage and the kind of project you have in your hands. There are things that they need resources by nature. Like, I mean, if you want to develop an app and you don't have the skills or whatever, you will need to hire someone. There is no other way. Or maybe there is the way of you can do it yourself, but at the end, it's always the trade-off of me, myself. I have made the mistake several times of start working on something. I could pay someone to do it. I prefer to do it myself. Why? Because I learned to learn new stuff. But still, then once I'm done, you think and you are like, why did I do this? Like, I mean, the amount of time I invested on this, like maybe I spent like 2 weeks working on something that I could have paid like $200 someone to do it. It's something like, I don't want to make a living out of this thing I did in the last couple of weeks. So objectively, rationally, it was not a wise investment in terms of asset allocation, not like my time, 2 weeks worth of my time, doing something that, I mean, the result is good, but I didn't need to do it. So regarding the first question, is it worth it to do it or not? Depends on the magnitude of the project and the skills you have. If you lack any of those, you will need someone to do it for you. Either the way of partnership or hiring someone. But the end is like, you have to evaluate what's the cost of starting that, and if it's like core to your business. Because there are things that you cannot there are things that even if they take you time, you cannot pay anyone else to do it for you. You cannot hire. You can just go via partnership.
Yeah, we've touched in a number of interesting topics, and one of the things that I consider in this equation is it something that I want to like learn, or Is it something that if I could have someone else do it, I would rather have someone else do it? That is a very important question.
And even if you want to learn it, you have to also evaluate, like, because if it's just because you want to learn, that's a hobby, man. I mean, that's not business anymore, you know? So, I mean, well, maybe you disagree, you know? Like, yeah, okay, it brings happiness to your life, okay, but at the end, you can also put a price to that, no? Somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, if I were just, I'm biased because I'm very pro of this kind of looking inward and doing things that you like.
Sure.
And I understand that this is not the shortest way to kind of success, quote unquote, because you could like make more money if you're just focusing on doing things that pay well, for example.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm talking from the perspective of making money. I'm also an advocate of doing things that make you happy, and that's why I make the mistake. I mean, I define mistake, and I use the word mistake because now in this context, I guess we measure success in terms of money. To me, success in the personal life is, I measure that in terms of, as you say, happiness, no? Somehow, if there is any way of qualify that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with losing, making the mistake or of spending time learning a new skill because I truly enjoy it. But from the business perspective, it's by definition a mistake because I should have allocated my resources in something else.
Yeah. That's an interesting paradox because I see that there is another layer to this, which is, okay, let's say that it's not something that you yourself want to do it. If you could have someone else do it, let's say you would rather have that than do it. But then the question becomes, do I have the budget for that right now?
Sure.
And I believe that there is a better way to do that, because if you want to hire someone, if there's something that you need to get done and you don't want to you would rather someone else do it, but you don't have the money, can you still have someone else do it?
Well, the only thing you can offer is equity. I mean, if you cannot pay with money to hire someone, the only thing you can do is offering him, I mean, maybe that, or going back to the old times, exchange some kind of work. Like, I mean, you give me what you do, I give you something I can do.
That's interesting, and that's an interesting framework. So if you want to hire someone, you can either pay by cash or give equity or exchange of services, right?
Yeah, which is like an old way of exchanging money. More specific, yeah.
Yeah, it's like but there's another way that I look at this.
And like me.
For example, when I want to learn a new skill,
yes,
I'm investing my time, or I'm investing money. I'm buying a course. I'm buying like a college degree. When I want to learn something new, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to invest because I want to learn. I'm willing to invest in that. So I see a possibility of the exchange is not necessarily an exchange of services. It's an exchange of like experience.
Okay, but I mean that sounds like so you get the experience. There are two parts. One is the one who is offering the task to do, and the other one who is willing to do it. So who is getting what? Let's draw it.
So let's put it this way. I'm starting with.
I need a designer.
Yeah. You need a designer, and there's someone else who was working at let's say a coffee shop, and they want to work with design.
Okay, so they don't have the skills.
They don't have the skills yet,
but they have the willingness.
They have the willingness to learn.
Okay.
They can do the design for you. For you, it works like this. You're getting someone that you know who is not like experienced.
Okay.
But it's someone who's willing to do it. And you are getting the design. You don't know for sure if the design is going to be exactly as you want. So there is a risk involved. And you are putting your time, you are putting all the things you've learned. Maybe you're giving them some ideas on, background and color combination and best tools to use. Maybe you've learned that from your experience.
So are we assuming that I already have the knowledge on how to do design?
You could have, and that's one way, but even if you don't have, you could be like, I'm a customer, I don't understand anything about design, I need a logo, let's say.
Okay, in that case, if I am the guy who was working in the coffee shop and now I want to learn, the question from me would be, what do I get from doing this?
Portfolio.
No? So if I work for okay, you get portfolio, yeah, I agree, but you can also say, I can work on my own thing instead of for you.
That's a good,
and you also get a portfolio.
That's a good thought.
So if you want to add something to that, in the case you tell me, no, the one who is hiring you has the knowledge, yeah, that's a good incentive for that guy to work on your project, because basically he's getting the opportunity of dealing with someone who already knows the business. But if not,
so yeah, that's a good point. And to get more clarity on the positive aspects of that, what I will say is, when you work for someone else,
yes,
it's more robust than working for yourself. Because for yourself, like, anything is possible. It's like playing chess against yourself. When you're playing chess against yourself, it's like you're both attacking and defending. So there are subconscious levels happening. So you could not. It's not the same.
I agree, but I mean, at the end, like when you work for someone, yeah, the reality is that you have a responsibility. I think that's the bottom line. What pushes you through when you struggle, basically, is that you still have to deliver something because you are working for someone who is paying you. But now in this business model, that because basically the guy on the other side, he's paying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or maybe he's paying, but he's not paying market prices, because we started with the assumption that he's lacking resources.
Let's say he's not paying.
So if we assume that he's not paying, then the level of commitment on your side will be low. Because in the same way, yeah, I mean, there is someone who is very motivated and he's willing to do everything till the end. But man, if I want to learn a skill and then, like this evening I got a call from a friend who tells me, let's have a coffee, I owe you nothing. I have zero responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what you're saying is, okay,
first is like, I have no incentives to work for you instead of my own projects. And second is like, I don't have any responsibility regarding your project. So if I deliver shit, it's your problem, it's not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there are just these two things, and one of them is kind of, I want to have a flexible schedule.
Yes.
I want to have a flexible schedule, and that's more than fair.
Yeah.
I think that's something that it's part of that. It's actually, I think that's the future. It's like, okay, I said I was gonna do this, but now I have this other thing in my mind, so I need to do this other thing first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's valuable. I think that's where we're heading as a society, because before it was like the company says, I own you, you're not doing that. No, but I need no, you're not doing it. crazy.
I mean, I agree, like in an ideal world, things should be in a way that everyone is happy, but I get like probably your perception and mine are biased in the sense that we are part of a very small group who has the, well,
Liberty.
like the skills to do that kind of thing. But still, like probably 90% of the population, they cannot do that.
You mean they don't have the
Like
skills to work independently?
The skills and not to work independently. I think maybe they have the skills to work independently, but it's not only about if you can work independently. It's about convincing the people, the guy who is hiring you, to give you that freedom and the things that you need leverage to do that. And if in the market if there are people willing to be slaves for the same amount of money you charge, the one who is hiring you will get slaves instead of you.
I mean, I think this is like a second level discussion for for marketing. I think that's kind of a possible next step. But for that two arguments that you said, like one is I want to be flexible, and I think that's more than fair. And the second one's like, okay, so you're paying me nothing, so if I don't deliver anything, these, I think we need to improve on this kind of agreement, because it's not like the other person is giving you nothing. I think that like they're also dedicating efforts on showing what the market needs. They're showing you. It's like a teacher, like a test. You go to college. There was a teacher who thought of a test. They give you the test. If you pass the test, it means you're more prepared for the market. So the person who is kind of hiring in that sense, it's making the role of the education institution. It's showing you in practice what the market wants.
I agree. As I said, like I agree if the guy who is hiring you has or the company has the experience to teach you. Otherwise, I don't say it because basically I get like most of the customers, especially small companies, they lack the knowledge. Most of the time, they don't even know what they want. They pay some designer and they say, I need something. Big ideas.
So yeah, I understand it, and I felt that pain when I was kind of, okay, when I first started, like, I'm gonna be a freelancer, and I was gonna like go into projects in one website, and I was like, this hiring people, like, they don't seem like really an expert in that, so I would be working for not a big payment, and also I would be working for people that don't really know what they want. But that was like a very small sample of projects. And I think that if we look like broad enough, we can start finding projects that have clients, even if they're non-paying clients, that have clients, that have challenges that are interesting for you to tackle. So I think that's one point. Is the challenge interesting enough?
Okay.
Because if the challenge is interesting enough, then even though the person might not be an expert, I don't understand. I've heard this like recently. I don't understand anything about technology. I don't use a computer. I just like do some things on my phone. But the challenge is interesting. It was like a plumbing company or like a roofing company, and the challenge was interesting.
What percentage of the population you think they have that kind of mindset or attitude? Do you think it's high?
So I think the question then is, what kind of percentage of challenges are interesting? interesting?
Well, I mean both. I think both. First is like, yeah, you need like interesting things to do for sure, but you also need people with the mindset of I want to learn new skills, which is not like, I wouldn't say is that common. Like,
So yeah. Right now it's not common. People that want to learn these skills, what they do, they go to like college, let's say. I want to learn something different. Let me go to a college, or let me take an online course, or let me do this, that.
but is it like a mean or a goal for them? Like learning new skills?
It's a mean for something.
Okay, so most of the people have that. So the bottom line is they don't do it because the challenge is interesting. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like if it's a mean, if it's not a goal, the level of like how interesting is the challenge I have to face doesn't matter. I just want to get the skill. I don't care if your challenge is very interesting or not. Because I'm here for the money. I want to learn something that will bring money to my pockets. I mean, you know, like it's hard.
Maybe, maybe the approach that should be taken.
I'm saying this because I feel like somehow, probably, I mean, we have many things in common, and I think that probably our perception is biased because of that. Like, I love to learn new things. I love it. You give me a new challenge, and for me, it's like, man, that's so good. But the question, once you want to start a business, is like, your target audience is maybe they have a different mindset, and that's something to take into account a lot, like a lot. Someone who is working. I try to think about the kind of profile you mentioned, no? Like someone who is working on a coffee shop and he wants to start, now he wants to be a designer. It could be by either, I mean, there are many probably more options, but to my mind now they come just two. One is like he loves that since the beginning, but maybe he was not able to afford that, or like he needed money, so he started working as a barista or called it. And the other one is like, I want to improve my way of living. If it's the first option, then it makes sense with the business model. If it's the second one, man, they are there just for the money. They are just there for the skills.
Yeah, so maybe there is like a niche in that, like, okay, so
yeah.
If you are someone who are passionate about learning a specific topic, then we have like a possible...
Then it makes sense, the business model. But that's why my question is, what's the percentage you think of people that learns because they love it, like they are passionate about that?
Yeah, and it's a fair question, and I think that the answer to that is like the percentage of people is shorter than it will be in the near future. Like this will increase as technology advances, as society advances. There will be more and more people that are choosing to follow a specific path because they love. So maybe that's kind of a game to be played.
I feel that's optimistic, man. Like I feel like now people, I mean, younger generations, they want to be TikTokers, man. Like and even those like who start this new path of learning new skills, they do it because they are pushed by the market. It's not choice. Like it feels like I have seen so many guys like boot camps. Now there are boot camps everywhere because now everyone designs webs. It's not bad, you know, and nothing against that. But that's how I perceive it. Like, yeah,
it's interesting discussion, man. We're all out of time. But yeah, thank you. That was very inspiring and challenging, like to think about this new kind of problems. I think, as I said, there's like a treasure. I see it, but I know it's not as straightforward as one may think. So I appreciate it.
No, that's fine, man. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.